As entrepreneurs, we're all hustling and working hard until we achieve the goal, because we think that if I make 6 figures, then I can relax. Whenever you're managing your energy, you will see effects in all areas of your life, because it starts with you. And when you change, the world changes as well. We as humans are designed to work in a cyclical way too. We have energy highs and energy lows. We still define how productive we are based on how many hours we work, but that is bullshit. All deadlines are movable because we made them up.
Entrepreneurs are oftentimes obsessed about productivity, but they don't realize that it's so important to take care of your energy level and to use your energy level according to your ups and downs. By doing that, you can scale your productivity to totally new heights. And today we have an expert for that, Christina Ofner. She will tell you such a great advice how you can improve your productivity and also well-being by adjusting your daily life and work to your energy level. Hi, how are you doing? How is your energy level today, Christina?
Hi, well, thanks for allowing me to be here and to speak. My energy level is great because I get to speak about my favorite topic. And we were just listening to really great music, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, my energy level is also higher than usually because I was using your advice to dance to a favorite song before the recording. And now I feel really pumped up.
Exactly. That's like one of the most, or like the best tip ever to like.
Yes, it's changed how I do my important video calls and podcast episodes. Before I was always trying to calm down, to meditate. Now I'm like dancing, listening to music, and suddenly there is a different energy level.
It's so good. Yeah, because like for calls and for podcasts and all of that stuff, we need more energy, right? But when you're meditating, you're kind of like lowering everything that's going on and you're like more relaxed. But that's not the kind of energy we need for these things. When you move your energy as well. And then you basically manipulate your energy flow in the way that you need it. Makes you feel better in the end.
That's the first actionable advice that everyone can use, a quick fix. But we will also dive deeper into other aspects that are responsible for your energy level. So what actually do you do and how did you choose to do that? How did you end up in this area of coaching?
Hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm a holistic business and mindset coach, and I help stressed and burnt out entrepreneurs to reconnect with themselves and redesign their life and business in a more sustainable and aligned way. One of the core things that I do is help individuals figure out how their own energy flows so that they can create some kind of working model that is based on their own body and on their own energy so that they can actually do that for the long term, right? We're all entrepreneurs. We're not doing it to make a lot of money this year. We are in this game because we want to be entrepreneurs as long as we want to and probably until we die. So we need to make sure that what we do is sustainable and that we also stay healthy on all levels, right? Physical, mental, emotional, also spiritual. So in this way, when we create something based on our goals, our personality, our energy, our body, we can make sure that it is sustainable. That is my mission and purpose in life, to showcase that there is a very different way of working, one that aligns with you. So basically, I was already in the online business world for like 2 or 3 years. I was working as a VA and as a digital business manager. And when I pivoted to coaching, I thought I would make 6 figures in 6 months. So what I did is I blocked out all of my calendar. I went full in because that's what everybody told you on Instagram, right? You got to go full in and focus on this one thing. And I was basically hustling 24/7 just to make sure that I implement all of the strategies that I saw on Instagram, that I heard from other coaches and mentors. And after those 6 months, I didn't see any results. I would still make no money with coaching, but I felt so frustrated and so disconnected from myself. My first thought was, okay, you need to work more and you need to work harder and you need to work more and better. And the second thought was, no, I'm already working so much. I'm already doing more than I should. And it just felt so wrong because I also felt so disconnected from myself. So I took a break from all of this because I really felt like I need to reconnect with why I actually wanted to do this in the first place. And I basically used all of this time for a lot of personal development, like spirituality stuff. But what I also did is I wanted to figure out a different way of working, because there needs to be like a more sustainable way than to just hustle and like work 24/7. Because like, I have to be very honest with you, I never wanted to work 40 hours per week, not even 30, sometimes not even 25 hours per week. Already from the start, not just when I make the millions. I don't want to hustle until I get there. So I watched this video about things that influence your energy. And I thought, okay, well, that's great in theory, but how does it actually apply? So I created my own 8 months energy tracking experiment. And I tracked my energy for like 8 months, more or less every day. And I tried out all of these different tools. After these 8 months, I was like, oh my God, this is such a different way of working. Like, I can basically align what I do in my schedule based on my findings of my own experiment, of how I work best and how my energy flows. When do I have my highs? When do I have my lows? When is the specific time of the month when I just can't do anything? Or where is the specific time of the month or day where I feel like I'm ready for a podcast interview, you know, like I can go on stage. And at the end of these 8 months, I realigned my office in my business. I realigned how I do marketing, and I achieved so much more by doing less. I finally rested without feeling guilty. I found my own way of doing things, and now it's my mission to show others how they can get to know their own body and energy that well to create their own way of working, so that we can all achieve our goals in a healthy state.
Yeah, that's pretty inspiring. I think many entrepreneurs have the same problem. They have maybe over-optimistical expectations of what is achievable in a short period of time. They are pretty burnt out after a short period of time without any results. And we will dive deeper into burnout because it's such an important topic, and most people don't even realize that they are in the beginning of a burnout, which can lead to severe problems. So it's important to react early on. And how do you think would your strategies improve the life of entrepreneurs?
Oh my God, so much. It would improve their life so much. First of all, I mean, we do currently in our society, how we define productivity is you need to do all the time. You cannot rest because otherwise you're lazy and you're not contributing anything and you're not achieving your goals if you're resting. So with our current definition of productivity and how to achieve your goals, you're not allowed to rest and you need to do all the time. So naturally, if we follow that definition, you will burn out at some point. There is no other way than to mentally, physically, emotionally feel exhausted to the point where you burn out. And so many people have had multiple burnouts already or are on the brink of one, but they don't even want to talk about it. So it is happening all around us just because of this societal definition of productivity. So what my approach would do differently is you will learn to stay grounded within yourself. You'll learn how to use your own energy highs and lows. You're not dependent on anybody's productivity tools or working schedule. You actually get to create a working model that is based on your energy and your body. You can achieve your goals, but in a more sustainable way, in a healthy way. You get to rest without feeling guilty. You get to be less perfectionistic and actually enjoy life on the journey, throughout the journey. Because as entrepreneurs, we're all hustling and working hard until we achieve the goal. Because we think that if I make 6 figures, then I can relax or then I can take the vacation. But that's not how it works. That is exactly why all of us are running into burnout. We need to make sure that the feelings we want to achieve, like feeling relaxed, feeling peaceful, feeling loved, feeling free, that we already feel those along the journey. Because we will always be on the journey. That is always the one moment that we will ever have. Because the minute you achieve a goal, the human brain will give you the next goal. So you will always be on the journey and always be in the in-between stage. So in order to not end up in burnout, we need to make sure that you are feeling well in the in-between stage. So you need to rest. You need to make sure that you are taking high-impact action, but high-impact action, they don't take 40 hours per week, right? So you can move in your business, but you can do it in a more sustainable way. This will also have an impact on what kind of person you are in the relationships around you, with family, with your partner, all of these things. Because if you know how to manage your energy levels, you also know how to socialize. So it actually works for you. Because we all need alone time. We also need community time and social time. But if we don't manage our energy well, at some point we will meet people or we will be alone and we will feel miserable just because we can't manage. Whenever you're managing your energy, you will see effects in all areas of your life because it starts with you. And when you change, the world changes as well around you.
Interesting, Christina. Let's talk about it. Tell me the overview of the energy levels. How does it work?
So basically, when we look into nature, everything is cyclical, right? Like how the seasons work and how flowers grow and all of these things. And we as humans are designed to work in a cyclical way too. We have energy highs and energy lows. Basically, we have the initiation and creation stage, then we have the growth stage, the completion stage, and the rest stage. And it's basically this like circle, you know, it's not a linear thing, not like the productivity meaning that we're currently having on this planet. It's not one line, it's actually a cycle. And we need to know how to work within this cycle because we are designed to work within the cycle and not in a line. We need to make sure that we know when our energy highs and when our energy lows are. Because we need the energy lows, first of all, for our mind to create space for new ideas or our neurons to like connect new experiences with old experiences so we can get these like groundbreaking ideas. And our body needs the low phase to create space for new energy, right? We need boredom in our lives to actually make space for new stuff, new energy, new ideas, the new phases in our lives. So in order to figure out how or when your energy highs and lows are and how they're working, we need to look at all the factors that can influence your energy. And that's a lot. So there's circadian rhythm, which is your wake-sleep cycle. There is your infradian rhythm, aka the female cycle. There's moon phases, your mindset, like the subconscious stuff that's going on when it comes to productivity, success. All the expectations and standards that you set for yourself subconsciously have a huge impact on your energy levels. Then there is your relationships, like what kind of people are you surrounding yourself with? Nutrition, your sleep. And then there's also spiritual tools like human design that also talk about specific energy motor centers that tell you how you should work best, like what's your best working strategy or like work cycle. All of these things together, they actually show you how your energy highs work, how your energy lows work, and how you can create something that is more sustainable for you, your life, and your business. And also emotional awareness. That's also one thing. And I'm pretty sure there's way more than that. Also the way you move, how often you move. Like there's so many things that influence your energy, but those are like the most important ones for now.
What are the most important factors that influence the energy level of humans? What would you say?
Yes. So as I just mentioned, I think the three most important ones are the circadian rhythm plus the sleep cycle within one, the female period, like for all my women out there, this is so important. And the third thing is your mindset. So those three are like super, super important. I would recommend everybody to start with these and then to move on to the rest.
So let's dive into circadian rhythm. Could you explain that in more detail?
Yes, I would love to. The circadian rhythm is a 24-hour pattern in your body. It basically regulates all the stuff that's going on a 24-hour clock, basically. It regulates when you are supposed to like wake up, when you're supposed to go to sleep, and when your most productive hours are. Within the circadian rhythm, we have the chronotype. And the chronotype is this genetic, like when you're meant to have your like most productive hours, when you're designed to wake up, when you're designed to go to bed and all of that stuff. And the thing is, all of our current system, like the education system and the corporate system and the way we define productivity currently, they're all based on one chronotype, which is the morning type, right? Even though there's like 4 different chronotypes. So we all are trained to get up in the morning, whereas only 10% of all the population actually resonates with the morning type. 80 to 90% of the population, they are not morning people. There's three other types. So there's the wolf, which is basically the night person. They're most active and most productive during the night. Then there is the bear and a dolphin. And a bear and a dolphin, they need some time in the morning. For the bear, for example, it doesn't matter when you get up. They just need some time for their brain to get started. I'm a bear, so I always need like at least an hour just to like get back to the real world, have my morning routine. And then the earliest I could start working is 9. My most productive hours are between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Then I have a longer break, and then maybe I'll work between like 4 and 6 p.m. or so, or like 5 and 7. It depends. But basically the bear and a dolphin, I don't have too much time to go into the details, but their most productive hours are like late morning, lunchtime. And if you think about it, all of our current systems and all of the productivity stuff that is out there, we all know like the book, The 5 a.m. Club, and everybody who's posting on Instagram, oh, I woke up at 5 and I got so much done. It might not even apply to you. There's only a couple of people that applies to, because your energy might be different. Your circadian rhythm might be different. Maybe you can train yourself to get up at 5 a.m., but just because you can train yourself to do that, it doesn't mean that you're going to be most productive during those hours. For some people, that will be their most productive time, but for you, it won't. So for you, it is important to figure out your own chronotype or circadian rhythm so you can basically align your most productive hours and when you're supposed to get up and go to bed with your body and your rhythm and not somebody else's. And that is a thing that almost nobody does and almost nobody knows about, because they just see all of these like successful people getting up at 5 a.m. But I can guarantee you there are successful people who work during the night, in the afternoon, or during lunchtime, and they get up at 10 a.m. You can figure out your own way. As long as you're working with your body will naturally support you to be productive during those times.
How do I find my circadian rhythm?
You find your circadian rhythm by either taking a test. There's one online that you can do, but there's also one that you can pay for in the hospital. I'm not sure if all hospitals actually offer that, but I honestly just did one online and then tried experiment with it. That was part of my whole tracking system or my experiment that I did. So what I basically did is I did this test online. I realized that I might be a bear. I changed my time of when I would wake up to a little bit later, because at that point I was still trying to force myself to wake up at 6 or 7, still too early for me. So I played around with when I would wake up and how that influenced me. And then I would also play with when I would go to bed and when I would put my most important tasks. I put them in the bear times, like between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. I did that for a couple of months, and I was tracking every day how I felt, like what I got done, and also if I rested, how restful I actually felt or the break felt for me. Because again, it's not about only getting stuff done. That's not what it is. Basically, I tracked all of that, my mood, my energy, what I did, what my energy amplifiers were, what drained my energy today. After some time, I really saw that for me, it does make a lot of sense to actually wake up later and also start working at 9 a.m. the earliest. Because of course I can have a call at 8, but will my brain work? No. That was just my own experiment. So for everybody out there, take a couple of months and experiment with this. Like experiment with your wake up time, with when you go to bed, when you move your most important tasks. You're kind of like messing around with your body a little bit. When you start experimenting with it, you need to do that at least for a couple of months. Because when you're changing your wake up and sleeping cycle, it will feel more exhausting in the beginning. So you might actually get wrong data in the beginning because your body's still trying to adjust to the new system, to the new routine. So give it at least a couple of months until you get enough data to look back on it and be like, okay, actually, the first month was a bit rough. I felt more tired. But then month 2, 3, and 4, I felt super energized between like 10 and 12 usually. Just to warn you, it will take a couple of weeks for your body to adjust to the new rhythm so that you can actually get valuable data about whether this is your type or not.
Some of our listeners might think now it's easier said than done to change when I wake up, when I go to bed, and so on. But in my life, I have responsibilities, I have children, I have a wife that has a different rhythm. In your practice with clients, what are common challenges and how do you solve them or help with that?
Yeah. So basically, when you do have a challenge like this, like for example, you are a mom and you can't adjust to it, first of all, I would ask yourself, can you really not adjust in any way? Because let's say you are a wolf and you need time during the night, like you're most productive during the night, basically when your kids are asleep, then you work on your business and you agree with the dad or with a nanny or with anybody that they're the ones taking care of the kids in the morning, because that is when you're sleeping. There might be a way if you think outside of the box. Maybe you never had a nanny before for the first 2 hours. Or maybe the dad has never thought about starting work later and taking care of the kids in the morning. The dad is going to work later and then the mom is going to take care of them. Also, second thing is there are so many other things that influence your energy. So if you feel like you really can, for the life of you, experiment with your circadian rhythm, start with your female cycle. Start with moon phases. Start with your mindset. There's so many other things that you can look at first. It's all about starting and finding a way to reconnect with your body. And there's a way for everybody. You cannot tell me that there's nothing you can do to change your current reality, because there always is. I mostly work with entrepreneurs who do have the freedom to change their schedule. So what we did, for example, when we worked with their circadian rhythm or their female cycle, is we looked at their Calendly and we basically blocked out all of the times that they were not super productive, or based on their female cycle where they did not have any energy and they already knew that. So that is one way of how they can change what's going on without actually changing something during their day. But that is already helpful because on energy lower days, you don't want to have a lot of calls. And when you already block that out, when you set that boundary, that already makes a huge difference, because on those days when you want to rest, you can allow yourself to do that without feeling guilty because there's no calls you need to postpone. So that is like one really easy thing that I do with clients already as well. Once they kind of know they're like times of the day and or times of the month or so where they always feel like lower energy, or where it's highly likely that they won't have as much energy. For example, for women, when we talk about the female cycle, it's usually either the 2 or 3 days before the cycle starts and the first couple of days when they are in pain. When you already know that, you can already kind of like realign that. Same when you are a mom and when you have kids, it's all about planning, right? So when you already know that during one day of the cycle, you're always in pain, or during this like 2 days before your cycle, you always have the most limiting beliefs, get yourself some help. Like, can you just put the kids to the grandma or grandpa, or like, can the dad take care of them for this one day? Can you plan around that? There's always stuff that you can do in any kind of case. Like, nobody can come to me and be like, all of this doesn't work for me, because it does.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there is always, if you can't do it in 100%, just do 50%. That's already so much more than other people do.
Exactly. Even if you're not ready to change anything yet, just track your energy for a couple of months. Like, literally sit down at the end of your day and just ask yourself, how much energy did I have today? What was my mood today? What drained my energy today and what amplified my energy today? If you do that for at least a couple of months, you will be able to look back and identify patterns. Like, me scrolling on Instagram every single night is draining me every single day. We mentally know that. But if you see that this is the main reason of why you couldn't do anything afterwards, you will change, because your brain has enough proof for you to have the motivation to change something. Or you will figure out this one person that always drains your energy every single time you meet them. Even if you don't change anything right now about your current day, but you are more aware of what's actually draining and amplifying your energy, you can then also strategize how you want to use this data in your current life and business. Is there a week where you don't want to socialize and just hermit? Is there a couple of days where you need to set better boundaries because you need to watch your energy a bit more? Can you use your energy amplifiers before a call to manipulate your energy flow and get your energy up, right? There's still so much value in just getting back to yourself and really figuring out, how does all of this apply to me? How is my current life affecting me? Most of us are not aware of all the things that impact your energy and how it impacts it. Even just tracking your energy will do a lot for you.
Do you recommend a smartwatch that evaluate your quality of sleep, or do you think they are not that accurate?
I honestly can't say, because I don't have one. I don't want to have one more technological thing that blinks into my face, actually. I did have an app to track my sleep. I used Rise. With Rise, I actually found out my ideal sleep time. I need 8 hours and 30 minutes. So I usually try to sleep for 8 hours and have a 30-minute nap. I love naps. I think this is personal preference. So if you're already using it, then maybe try to figure out your sleep patterns with the help of a smartwatch. If you're not using it, there's also other ways of how you can track your sleep. I don't think it's a must. It's a can do. But again, it's a very personal journey. Do you feel motivated to do that? Yes, go for it. No, because you're also like me and you don't want more technological stuff blinking in your face and you just want more rest. Then don't do that. Maybe have an app or track it on paper if you want to.
Could you tell me your journey, your personal journey? How was it before you started working on your energy level? And what did you do? And how did it change?
I love this question. Okay, so before I tracked my energy, I also expected of myself to always be productive. I always had a really long to-do list, also a very unrealistic to-do list. I would feel stressed just because of my to-do list. No matter what I felt like, no matter if I had period pain or no matter if I, wanted to see family during the week or like whatever, I always felt the pressure of needing to do more and needing to be productive. Otherwise, I would not achieve my goal. So I would feel stressed and pressured when I was resting. I would not properly rest because my brain was like, Chrissy, but you need to work. You need to get back and do this one more thing. Like you can't just lay down like a lazy person. All of this mindset stuff was happening to me and I was not working in a sustainable way. Through the energy tracking, I got such a good understanding of my body. I created proof in my brain that my energy high or my energy lows do not mean that I'm not productive. They do not mean that I'm lazy. They do not mean that I need to do all these fancy things to get back into my high energy frequency. I really understood that this is part of the cycle. This part is needed and it doesn't mean anything about me. There is nothing that I need to do to get back into my energy high. But when I strategically use the lows to properly rest without all of this mindset stuff going on, knowing that because I'm resting, I'm going to have energy tomorrow or get this amazing idea probably in 1 or 2 days when I'm with family and on vacation, walking or hiking. In those lower moments, this is every single time where you get the like best ideas and the best new ways of doing things. So I internalized that resting and that sitting and staring or meditating or napping doesn't hold me back from achieving my goals. It is a necessity to achieve my goals. And I know that there's a lot of, okay, you need to rest quotes on Instagram and they're all super nice and fancy. And we all know mentally that we need to rest. But after tracking my energy, I created proof for it. I embodied it so much that I can, first of all, plan ahead in a more sustainable way, but also have the power to change on the day to be like, okay, actually, I feel terrible. Like period cramps came way earlier than expected. And now I can take the rest without feeling like I have to do something. What also happened is I redefined what productivity and success means to me, what deadlines mean to me, what urgency is for me. And again, this is also something like redefine success and productivity. We all read that on Instagram. But who actually has ever sat down and did that on paper? Nobody. Everybody is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, redefine success. Okay, yeah, probably something else, not money. But they never actually sat down and properly redefined it and also looked for proof that that is their new version of success or productivity. So mindset-wise, also a lot of stuff happened with changing your beliefs when it comes to productivity. It's all about creating a lot of proof for your brain so that you can become the peaceful entrepreneur, the chill entrepreneur, the sustainable entrepreneur. It did all of these things for me. I lost the pressure because I do have a lot of goals. I do want to make 6 figures, maybe even 1 million. I want to have a big business. But there is no pressure and no stress anymore of whether I need to do that. Because honestly, for me, it doesn't matter anymore if I achieve it in 2 months or in 2 years or in 20 years, because I'm already living the life I want to live and I already feel peaceful and free. When I started this goal or put this goal down of making 6 figures and 7 figures, I wanted it because I wanted to feel peaceful and free. And with my energy tracking experiment, I figured out how I can already feel free and peaceful throughout my journey. I don't have to wait until I have this super big business. So I'm still taking high impact action. I'm still resting, but I'm doing all of this in a peaceful and slow way that works for me. I'm still making an impact, but not to the risk of my own health.
Yeah, I like this quote. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. It always looks like so easy and you just need to start on YouTube, on Instagram, and then you become famous and successful. But most of those people who are in this level, they have been doing it. They had a phase where they were very long, very unsuccessful, like Mr. Beast, for example, the most successful YouTuber in the world. He had like below 1,000 followers for many, many years, and he couldn't earn any money from that. And now he has over 200 million followers. It doesn't come overnight. You need to take some time for the process to go closer to success. Could you please share a few examples from your clients, like user cases, these journeys, like in the short versions, which problems they faced and how did you solve that?
Okay. So basically I had one client, she was out of energy. She felt like she was running on empty all the time. And she was very frustrated most of the time. She was working for clients, but she couldn't really work on what she really wanted to. So what we did, the first thing is I showed her all the energy tracking stuff. And she did that. While we were working the first couple of months, she was tracking her energy on her own. If something was standing out, she would share that with me. And while she was doing the energy tracking, we worked on her expectations and standards for herself. Because what usually creates stress and overwhelm and you feeling like you have no energy is because your expectations, standards, and the rules that you have in your head of what you need to do, like your must-dos and should-dos, they are unrealistic and you can't meet them. But all of those are subconscious. So you're running around with all of these like, I need to do that and I must do that in order to achieve it. And when you're not actually aware of that, you're basically running yourself out of energy because you're trying to accomplish something that you can't. So for her, for example, one of her things that she really wanted to do is create a new offer, like one that aligns more with what she actually wanted to do. So she wanted to change her offer suite, but she never had the energy to do it because she had thoughts in her mind being like, oh, but when I have this new offer, I need to market it on Instagram every single day. And I need to post like 5 times a week. And then I need to also market it on LinkedIn. And then I need to do a challenge. She had all of these beliefs and all of these like standards for herself of what she needs to do in order to create that offer, what's going to happen after the offer, which already created stress and overwhelm without her actually starting. And that's why she never started it. So we got clear on all of these things and then basically reframed all of them and created a very simple action step. I also helped her to like reframe what goal setting actually means and how she can experiment with things instead of setting goals, right? Because the smart way of setting goals is actually not human. It doesn't allow for failure. It doesn't allow for experimentation. So we work actually with an experiments dashboard. And since she did that, she was like, I feel so much less pressure and like less stress because I get to experiment instead of doing something once and having to do it perfectly for the first time. What we then did is I basically helped her to reconnect back to herself, her strengths, her passions, her values. We created a poster about herself. Then I reconnected her with her purpose and ambition. She found out she was working towards goals that weren't even hers. Right? She was just seeing stuff on Instagram, like, I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 7 figures. And then once we uncovered that that is actually not her purpose, yeah, it's nice. But she actually wanted to make and impact first, no matter what she is earning or so. And while she was realizing that actually there's no stress in making the 6 or 7 figures now, and I can already work with impact-driven clients, and there's ways to do that already, she felt so much more relaxed and she had so much more fun in her business. Because first of all, we created small steps on how she can create the offer and how she can market it in a way that feels energizing for her and that feels fun for her and that actually fits in her schedule, right? Because sometimes we also have all of these expectations of, oh, I need to do that and that and that and that, even though it doesn't fit into our schedule time-wise or energy-wise. So once we knew all of that, and once she tracked her energy for a couple of months, we then used all of the data that she gave me, all of the stuff that we figured out about herself, like her purpose, her mission, her values, how she wants to work. And then we redesigned her life and business. And at the end, she was actually like, you know that I'm resting more now and I'm achieving more without hustling 24/7. Like she got new clients for the new offer, like she tested it out. She actually felt energized again in her business. And it only needed like those changes to achieve more by doing less, just by working on reconnecting back to what matters to her, tracking her energy and creating a sustainable working model, and really looking at the expectations and standards that she would set for herself. I also had the same thing. That was a shorter one with a team leader. She was employed actually, but she's leading a team of like 7 people, and all of these 7 people have more people underneath her. So she felt like she loved what she did, but she never had any energy and wanted to give more and do more for the team, but she just couldn't. She felt like as well, she was running on empty all the time. So what we did was, again, first thing, and I do that with all of my clients, no matter if they're entrepreneurs or employed, I look at the standards and expectations that you set yourself. So I asked, like, you do have different roles in your life, right? You are a team leader, you are a sister, maybe you are a girlfriend. What are your expectations to fulfill all of these roles? And what came up for her team leader role was that she thought she needed to be available 24/7. The second thought was that she needs to have all the right answers. The third thing was that she needs to be a perfect leader. And just from hearing those 3, you and me know that's not sustainable. Like, you can't be available 24/7, first of all. Then with the second one, knowing the right answers. What is the right answer? As a team leader, you're not here to give answers. You're here to support. The third thing is with being perfect. What does perfect mean? Can you define that? And we basically reframed all of these standards and expectations she set for herself in a way more sustainable way. And that needed to happen on a conscious level, because all of these things were on a subconscious level. Even when she was writing it down, she was like, wow, that is so unrealistic. Like, why am I even thinking that? And we all think that we don't have thoughts like this, but we all do. And that is where we create the stress and the overwhelm in the first place. And then like a week after all of this, like reframing, setting new boundaries as a team leader, after a week of work, she actually texted me, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel like I can be so much more peaceful and chill at work because I do have my boundaries now. And I do know what my expectations are and standards, and I can actually meet them. So even within a week, that already made a change. So those are 2 examples.
Wow, that's really incredible. Now I have the urge to hire you to coach me. Do you only work with women or also with men?
I'm also working with men. Yeah.
Nice. Because I saw the similar problems with my life. Could you tell me about emotional awareness?
This one is so important and so underrated because we are not taught to actually manage emotions. Emotions have a really big impact on our energy, because if you feel frustrated, if you feel sad, and you don't allow yourself to feel frustrated and sad, you're going to be on your laptop feeling all kinds of things, feeling icky, and like you want to feel something, but you're suppressing it. So first of all, you're not more productive just because you're suppressing your emotions. You're actually less productive because you're on your laptop trying to make things work. But if you actually take the time to know, okay, hey, I feel frustrated. What I need right now is to feel the frustration. So I basically just sit down in my room or make sure that I'm alone somewhere and I allow myself to feel the feeling. I sit down and I allow myself to punch a pillow if I need to. I allow myself to scream if I need to. I allow myself to cry if I need to, because the emotion needs to go through your whole body. Otherwise, it will stay there. And it's uncomfortable for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. But if you allow yourself to feel it and then either journal on it or go for a walk and like sit with it, that is where you basically like regain the energy, because you need to come back to some kind of neutral space in order to make good decisions. So if you want to be able to work, if you want to be able to like make decisions, you can't do that out of a certain feeling, whether that's frustration or being super excited, the other spectrum, right? We always make decisions out of all of these, but it is so much better if you are aware of your emotions and actually feel through them, especially if they're lower frequency emotions. It's so much easier to not trap them in your body. The thing is, with lower frequency emotions, when you suppress them and keep them in your body, they might stay for days, they might stay for weeks, they might stay for months. And when you have those suppressed emotions for weeks and months, of course, you're not going to get anywhere close to your goal or properly resting, like no matter what you're doing, because your body's still trying to feel the feeling and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? So all of this is like being aware of how you are feeling and then actually allowing yourself to feel the feeling. Yesterday, for example, I'm going to get my period in 2 days. And always like 2 or 3 days before my period, I feel so frustrated, very frustrated for no reason. I could snap at any person who could talk to me. But since I already know that, I looked at my calendar, I'm like, is it this time of the month again? And I was like, yes, it's this time of the month again. And it always feels like that for me, where I have the most limiting beliefs. I feel so frustrated. I get nothing done. And usually I actually pull that out of my calendar. I didn't do it this time because of Bansko and like travel plans and all of these things. I still make my own mistakes with these things too. But since I'm aware of that, I can basically take myself out. I closed my laptop and I went for a walk. And I felt my frustration. I talked to myself like, you know what, Chrissy, it's fine. You don't have to get everything done. You don't have any strict deadlines anytime soon. Just feel the feeling. And then I actually took the afternoon off and went to my grandma's place. And that was perfect, because when I came back, I was slow and peaceful. The world didn't change and it didn't end just because I didn't do what I had on my to-do list.
Yeah, we have to change our view on the working hours. Instead of just pushing through and saying, okay, we have to work between this time and this time. And no matter how the quality looks like, that's where we are taught as employees, as pupils in the school. We have to say, okay, I could work with 60% effectiveness, maybe 40% effectiveness. But it's waste of my lifetime and it's not bringing me the effectiveness that I want. So rather than working like 4 hours with 50% effectiveness, I spend 2 hours taking care of myself, staying with the emotions. Then I can work for 2 hours, 100%.
Exactly.
And it's not even the same result. Mathematically, like in this example, it looks like the same result, but in these 2 hours, you will make much, much better decisions. You will be more creative. It's not about how many hours you do certain things, but it's all about which things you are doing and how you are doing them.
Exactly. And that is so important. And that is also part of how we define productivity currently, right? We still define how productive we are based on how many hours we work. But that is bullshit. Like, no matter how many hours you work, you can work 40 hours and be super unproductive and don't actually move the needle forward in your business. And you can work 1 hour per week and only do high impact actions. That could bring you more money than working 40 hours on Instagram posts. That's why we need to redefine what productivity means for all of us, like individually.
Yeah, if you don't have this feeling of confidence in this moment, then we are also not doing the right things, because oftentimes the right things are outside of our comfort zone. If you are a coach, freelance or agency or any other business, especially a B2B business, you have to work on finding clients. That's the core thing. If you don't feel like doing that, then you are doing some unimportant things like scrolling on social media, it feels like work, or you are optimizing your website. It feels comfortable. You don't need to talk with anyone, but it doesn't bring you closer to your clients. It's also important to feel the right feeling, or at least not to feel the negative feelings while you are doing, or at least if you are feeling that, you should be aware of that, and then you can take action. But even if you don't have the opportunity to do that, you already understand that you are acting because of those feelings and not because it's the right way. So you can adjust and be a bit more like objective.
Like that is also one thing that I discuss with all of my clients is the high impact action versus low impact action. Are you aware of how much time you're putting into low and high impact action? And also reprioritizing, because when shit hits the fan, we all have overwhelming and stressful days because we are all humans. But like, can you reprioritize, or do you still scatter your focus? And with reprioritizing, I also mean that your business is not always the priority, and that is okay. Some people feel like your business always needs to be the priority in order to achieve your goal. And that is because we're all humans. We all have a family, relationships, health. Sometimes we need to prioritize these other areas. Otherwise, you're always going to have this push and pull. Okay, I need to actually work on my health because I have this sickness, but I still need to work on my business because I'm having this launch right now. Give yourself permission to focus on your health first, because when you're healthy, you can be more productive and you will be naturally in your energy high again, and you can just postpone your launch and work on it later. But for now, health is more important. Or if a family member dies or there's a problem in your family, allow yourself to prioritize family and not think about the business for now.
Yes.
Lots of people do not allow themselves to reprioritize on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And then they create even more stress and overwhelm because they want to push and pull in all the different directions, but they can't. We're all just one human being. We can't wear all the hats all the time. So also prioritizing is one thing that I really discuss a lot with my clients too, and giving them permissions to do that as well. It doesn't mean you will never achieve your goal. Forget the idea that you need to work 24/7 to achieve goals. That's so not true.
Yeah, sometimes we have this goal, or people have this goal to become rich, to become wealthy, to become successful, to be on the pedestal. But it's not sustainable for whole life. If you prioritize this 100% and everything else close to zero, then you will be lonely. You won't have friends. Your health will suffer. In the end, it's even difficult to achieve that goal. If you have to work for 10 years, for example, and just only work, then the chances are so high you get depression and burnout. Because, there are some influencers, they are saying, okay, in the first 2 years, I was working day and night, and then I become millionaire. But it's not necessarily... There are so many thousands of other people who worked for 2 years and didn't become millionaires. You also need some kind of luck and to be on the right time, with the right business, in the right location. So there are some things that are not in your control, and you have to prepare for the long run. And speaking of burnout, I think burnout is a very real thing for entrepreneurs, because we don't have those limits. We don't have this, okay, now we are done with our work. Now is the part of the free time. There is always something to do. We have our goals, struggles, and challenges. So burnout is a very common risk among entrepreneurs. So could you tell me more about how to recognize the beginning of burnout or like advanced stage, and what you recommend in like those stages, what you recommend to do?
Okay, so basically, I just want to say before I go into the symptoms, you can burn out from pretty much anything. You can also burn out from stuff that you really love. So just because you love your business, it doesn't mean that you are not ever going to get a burnout. I don't know if that's bad news, but you can also burn out from stuff that you really like. For example, I have digital nomad friends who burned out from traveling. who would ever thought that you can burn out from traveling, right?
Wow.
But so
yeah.
burnout is a real thing. It's when you're mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted and you just can't anymore. So please be aware of these symptoms and that it can happen to you. Like I think it's even the number 1, number 2, number 3, so really high on this planet right now. Like there's statistics all about it. So like we need to take it seriously on a collective level. If you want to figure out if you are on the way of burning out, if you're on the brink of a burnout, if you maybe already had one, there's different symptoms on different levels, right? There's physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, behavioral symptoms. So physically in your body, what can happen is that you get headaches more often, you get stomach aches, you feel fatigued all the time, like you're running on empty. You can also feel a change in your sleep and appetite. If you have trouble sleeping, the next day you can't eat, or what you usually like doesn't taste good anymore. Then there's the emotional ones, where you feel like nothing is working out, you feel like you are failing, you are doubting yourself a lot, you have a lot of limiting beliefs, and it's basically this negative, destructive self cycle that you're in. There's also this dissatisfaction that is a continuous thing. Maybe at some point you were really good and like being grateful, being present, and all of these things. But in this phase, when you are moving towards burnout, you feel more and more dissatisfied with your life. The small things can't really get you out of it anymore. You don't see the small things anymore. If you try to do that, it still doesn't help as it did maybe a couple of months ago. And you are feeling, or you might feeling very detached and very alone. So even what I described in my story, when I tried all of these strategies and techniques, they were like super unaligned. I was working 24/7 and I felt very detached from myself because I didn't do what I wanted to do. I just did what other people told me to do because I thought that's the way. So that is also like one common feeling when you feel very detached from others. You feel like you are the only one in this situation. You're the only one who can solve it. Nobody can help you. Emotionally, you can feel less excited and motivated. There's no real motivation to work on your business, even though you love what you do. It's very normal to feel unmotivated at times. If you're experiencing this for a long amount of time and it doesn't get better, it's not like a high or low cycle, it's a straight line, then it's time to ask for help or change your approach as well. And then behavior-wise, when you procrastinate a lot, that also comes back to not having any motivation, not really wanting to do anything. When you procrastinate a lot, when you snap on people, that comes back to the emotional awareness as well. When you have all of these bottled up emotions and then you just snap on people because everything you can think of is work and nothing else. And then all of these people come to you with different requests, like, hey, do you want to go on a family day? And you're like, no, I need to work. How can you even think that I have time for that? You know, all of these outbursts. And then you also feel like you're working all the time, but you don't get anything done. So you're working, but you're very unproductive. And all of these things combined can and will lead to burnout at some point. So if everything is only surrounded about your work, if you're so much in your head about, I can only make it in life if I do that, I can only rest, and you're very much in your head and not getting out of that state anymore. Yeah.
That sounds familiar to me, actually. Before 2016, I was working over 10 years, day and night. And then in 2016, there was a moment where I was working on a Saturday and I lied down and I felt nothing makes any sense. I'm not motivated. And I got really scared. I thought maybe I'm getting depressed. That was the turning point for me where I told myself I have to change my life. I started improving my work-life balance, going out, meeting new people. And I think, that was probably beginning or probably not even the beginning. It was next, not the first level of burnout. And luckily I made the right changes on time. Otherwise, what is otherwise actually? What happens if you don't take care?
You're going to be mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. And you need, burnout takes at least 3 months usually, up to a year or even longer, where you actually have to take a break or take a step back. You can't just move forward with whatever you did so far. You're meant to take a step back and take a break, but not a break that you want. It's like a forced break, you know?
Yeah.
And either
Yeah.
you're gonna end up in some kind of burnout clinic or hospital. We don't want that for you. You don't want to
No.
take yourself out of your
No.
life trying to get back to life slowly but surely, because especially if you are employed or an entrepreneur, you have this inner urge to get back to it. Of course, you need things that you need to do, especially in an employed setting when you're thinking about, oh, maybe they're going to fire me. Or as an entrepreneur, when nobody else is doing your work, then you're getting even more stressed, which means your body needs even a longer break, which, you know, is this like super self-destructive cycle again. So that's why it's so important that you take care of yourself before that even happens, because you don't want to step out of your life for like a couple of months, a couple of years, for like being forced to do that. You might want to do that at some point, but then because you choose it in a more sustainable and more peaceful way, then ending up in a burnout clinic. Yeah, no, I don't want that for anybody.
Yes. Definitely. That's pretty tough because you want to become rich or you want to become as successful as an entrepreneur. And then you are forced to have a break and start from zero again because you will lose all your momentum. You will lose all your clients. So it's pretty tough. And there is no guarantee how long it will take to recover from that. How does the depression is connected with burnout?
I can't give you a super expert answer on that. So I don't want to say anything wrong. I just, in my experience and in my belief of how it is connected, again, not expert, not based on statistics or like whatever, or based on research, but I do believe because emotionally so many things are happening during a burnout and like behavioral wise, it's all coming back to mindset and how you're thinking about yourself. And because you're feeling so detached and alone, some things might come up like, nobody understands me. I'm the only person going through this. I can't talk to anybody. I can't ask for help. Then all the pressure and stress of work, like I'm not getting anything done, but I need to earn 6 figures to sustain my family. Like I'm such a loser. I'm a failure. And like all of these limiting beliefs, they do have an impact on how you're behaving, how you're feeling, like on a long-term basis. If you have, it's very normal to have those every once in a while. We're all humans. But if you have those every single day, they actually solidify as a subconscious core belief that is part of your identity in a way, right? And if you make it part of your identity that you are a failure and that there's nobody who can relate to you, that will lead you towards depression. So in that sense, all of it is kind of connected because it all starts here and here, how we feel. What we think and how we feel determines what's happening within us and also in the world around us. So that is how I think this is all connected.
What would you recommend to someone who has symptoms of burnout?
The most important thing is that you do take a step back and allow yourself a couple of days or a couple of weeks just to reconnect with yourself. So asking yourself all these important questions of, what are my values? Why did I start the business? Are the goals that I'm having now my goals? Or are those the goals of other people that I just took on because I thought I needed to make it to feel successful? The most important thing is that you get an understanding, again, of who you are. Second thing is an understanding of how you work best. Because one part of going into burnout is working in a system that is not designed to work with your natural energy patterns. There might be a great way for you to work, a good working schedule that might propel your productivity so much more, but you're still believing that you need to get up at 5 a.m. even though that's not your pattern, right? Or you think you need to force yourself to work during your period cramps, even though that's not helpful at all. Getting an understanding of who you truly are and what matters to you, like what truly matters to you, not what anybody else told you or what you see on Instagram. Second thing, getting an understanding of how you operate best. How does my energy work? How does my body work? And how can I work with it and not against it? No matter how often people tell me you need to use the Pomodoro technique and wake up at 5 a.m. and that will solve all of your problems, because it does not.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is, how can I redesign my life and my business based on these two first points? How can I redesign my boundaries? How can I redefine words like productivity and success who are the people that I'm surrounding myself with, and how can I improve the circle of people that I surround myself with? How do I align and redesign my expectations and standards? How do I socialize? How do I, in my business, need to redesign my office, my marketing, and the way I work, what I attach to my goals and the way I set my goals? How can I redesign all of that based on what works for my personality, my body, my goals? And how can I allow myself to do all of that? If you give yourself the time for this process, because all of this, again, it's not happening just by snipping your fingers or taking one day to think about it. This will be a longer process of a couple of months, but it will be so worth it because you will naturally get your energy back. You will naturally get your motivation back, and you will naturally get your excitement and enthusiasm for your life and for your business back. Because with every single step that you're taking on this journey, you're releasing pressure and stress. You will feel more peaceful because you allow yourself the slower approach. You don't believe anymore that you need to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve next week or in 2 months. If you don't achieve it, then you're like a loser in all of these things. So it's really coming back to yourself and redesigning your life and business based on that.
What are the symptoms where you would say, okay, you really need to go to an expert, to a psychologist?
If it's at the stage where chronic fatigue is happening, where you feel this mix of depression and burnout, you can't get yourself out of bed, then it's time to go to an expert. You can take this approach in the first couple of stages of burnout when you're feeling like, okay, this is going the wrong direction. I need to change my approach. This is a good approach. After the burnout, once you had 1 or 2 months of resting, getting back to yourself, feeling like, okay, now I have some idea again of how it's going to go. I'm fine. I accepted the situation and now I really want to work on that. Then you can also use this approach. So it's going to work either before the burnout or like after the burnout. Yeah.
I think you opened the eyes of many of our listeners with those new insights, because people don't focus on those things, but they are so important. And they are probably burning to learn about your offers. Before explaining your offers, is there anything else you would like to say to our audience?
I think there's one more thing, and maybe some people might get triggered by it, but we as humans created the 40-hour work week. We created the term productivity, deadlines, and urgency. If we as humans had the power to create all of that, we also have the power to create something that is more sustainable for us. And it is my mission to also do that on a more collective level. But I know this is a huge mission. It probably goes beyond my lifetime. But what I can do is help individuals do it already. Because for me, there is no urgency anymore. Yes, I do have some deadlines, but honestly, all deadlines are movable because we made them up. We made the importance of everything that we do up. No matter if it's with a client or in your business. I do have some tech VA or digital business manager clients for a couple of hours per month, but we all agree that all of these deadlines are made up. Nothing is going to happen if the newsletter is going to get out on Friday and not on Thursday. We basically take out the stress because urgency is not a thing anymore. If I have a lot of calls and a stressful week, I know that I do have the power over my time and over my energy. I can move the deadlines or the calls. People get super stressed and overwhelmed because they think they cannot do that because they have to show up. Otherwise, they're going to get fired. They can't communicate about their boundaries. That is what's going to lead you to burnout. Like, release the whole this is urgent thing. There's not a lot of things in life that are urgent. Urgent for me is life or death situation. Nothing in my business is a life or death situation. Nothing in my clients' businesses is a life or death situation. If they fire me for that kind of mindset, that's not the client I want to work with anyway. Absolutely. If, for example, you are sick or something is going on in your family and you're telling your client, hey, this happened, can we move the deadline? If they say no, leave. Leave the client. All of my clients actually understood all of these situations. That's why I don't feel like anything is urgent. I can move everything. And that's what gives me a chill and peaceful way of living, you know?
Yeah, I had a couple of clients who didn't respect my boundaries. One client was texting me on Sunday complaining that I haven't answered the message from Thursday evening. And it was such a sunny day, and it was like, and now I'm spending so much time back and forth on WhatsApp. And the other client was also, we were telling him to communicate during the working hours on Slack. And he was communicating through all channels, Instagram, WhatsApp, and for nothing, like, yeah, it's urgent, all the time at 12 o'clock in the midnight. And both of them clients we left because it doesn't make sense to destroy our own, not only health, but also mental health. None of those clients will bring back our health.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about your offer and what you would like listeners to do.
Yeah, of course, if you're interested, you can work one-on-one with me. I also have a hybrid program, which is a combination of group program and one-on-one support. It's called the Peaceful Entrepreneur, where we go like exactly for this process that I told you guys. So the first thing is we look at your standards, your expectations, redefining goals and actions in your business. And then we go into how do you get back to yourself and what truly matters? How do you work best? So we're going to track your energy. We're going to use the data to create a more sustainable working model. I'm going to help you get back to your mission and purpose and your why. And then based on all of these things, that's basically going to happen in the first 3 months of the program. We then go into your business and redesign how you work in your business, how you do your marketing, how you create your offers. And we also look at your finances, because I know for some people that is the main stressor. So we work on, okay, what do you actually need? What is your goal? How can we get you there in a sustainable way? And how can you create financial safety already? And what are all your other ways on how you can create safety within yourself? Because safety actually has nothing to do with the money that we have in a bank account. But most people don't know that, or they don't believe that. So we also work on that. And then in the end, we also work more on different stress management techniques, like how you can manage stress when it comes up. How can you improve your resilience? Because as I said in the beginning, you're not an entrepreneur for the next 10 minutes. You're an entrepreneur for the rest of your life until you want to stop. You need resilience. So you can get back from tough times way quicker than if you didn't have these techniques and ways to deal with those situations. So it's like a combination of lots of self-development, but also productivity, time, energy management, and then the business part as well, to either prevent burnout or help you recover from a burnout. If you're stressed and overwhelmed, this is the process that you want to go through to turn into like a peaceful and chill entrepreneur for the rest of your life. Yeah. So it's more sustainable in the mind. Yeah. If you want to know more, you can go to my website, www.christineofner.com, and or you can just text me on Instagram. Christine.ofner is my handle. So you can just go there, find more information, or book a call with me. I'm happy to share everything with you and also listen to your current situation so I can know how I can help you best, basically.
Amazing. Yeah, we will, as always, link in the description below. Thank you so much for your time, for your valuable advice, for opening our eyes.
You're welcome. This is my favorite topic. So
it was such a pleasure having you on our podcast. It was a bless to learn so much about this topic. And yeah, maybe we will have you as a guest again sometime in the future. It would be really great. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.